Assalamu alaikum dear students, and welcome to the 65th session of the KIPS Distance Learning Program Current Affairs Newspaper Roundup session. I am your host Shahrukh Haider, and today I have two important developments for you to share. So first of all, you might have heard that the government, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf government as center has been playing with the idea of bringing open ballot elections to the Senate, which is the upper house of parliament in Pakistan. Previously we've had the secret ballot where the members of the provincial assemblies cast their votes in the favor of the candidate that they want without anyone else knowing about it. So it's a secret ballot and no one can know about it, which means that opposition members can vote for government nominees, or government members of provincial assemblies, MPAs, can vote for opposition nominees to the seats of Senate. Now you must understand how the Senate works and how the elections of the Senate work. So Pakistan is a federal republic with a bicameral parliamentary form of government. Bicameral means that it has two houses of parliament, the upper house known as the Senate and the lower house known as the Majlis-e-Shura, or the National Assembly. And the upper house has equal representation of all four provinces, which means that in the total 104 seats that the Senate has, 23 seats are given to every province, whereas 10 seats are reserved for minorities and some seats for FATA and Gilgit-Baltistan. So that makes 104 seats. Whereas the National Assembly is concerned, it is basically based on population. So Punjab has the highest number of seats in the National Assembly because it has the highest population in Pakistan. So these two houses are generally created to balance the need for catering to the resources and the needs of smaller provinces specifically. So because since all provinces have equal representation in Senate, so they have equal power to pass legislation on the national level, which reduces some of the grievances that the smaller provinces has. And this is a model that has been used all around the world to cater to the problem of small versus bigger province or small versus bigger state, as in the case of the United States of America as well, right? So the election of the Senate is also very simple. So each of the 23 seats of each provincial legislature is first appointed, which means that the government and the opposition in each provincial assembly, which means the provincial assembly of Punjab and Sindh and Balochistan KP, nominates members that it wants to elect to Senate, and then the provincial assembly votes for each seat of that province's share in the Senate, and the competition is between the candidate of the government and the candidate of the opposition, and who gets the highest number of votes wins that election and goes to the Senate and acquires that Senate seat. Now these are indirect election, obviously, and composed of electoral college. And this means that since it is a secret ballot, opposition members can actually vote for the government nominee, or the government members can vote for the opposition nominee in each of the provincial legislatures. Now that creates a lot of problem, because for political parties who obviously want to see their nominees go to the Senate, if their members do not vote for their own candidate and are somehow, for some reason, vote for the government's candidate or the opposition's candidate, the other party's candidate, then obviously their nominee might not make it to the Senate, and their legislative power and the pressure that they can put on the government if they're the opposition, or on the opposition if their government, is substantially reduced. So this has been a big problem in Pakistan's Senate elections. But recently, the Imran Khan government, the PTI government, is trying to do away with the secret ballot and trying to introduce the open ballot, where the election for each seat of the Senate is held through simple raising of hands. So if there are two nominees or more than two nominees for a seat, then there is election for each nominee for the seat in the provincial assembly, where the members of the provincial assembly will raise their hands in favor of the candidates that they want to raise their hands for. So that would definitely be a welcome move, because it would bring a lot of changes. It has a lot of pros, but also some cons. So talking about the pros first, it will definitely reduce the practice of horse trading in Senate elections, because somehow the parties are able to buy their opposition's members and get their own nominee elected to the Senate. And that is obviously not good, because that is underhand dealing that damages the democratic credentials and destroys the democratic culture and does not foster internal democracy within political parties. Secondly, if the opposition is interested in favoring a certain kind of result in the Senate, then the establishment, including the armed forces, can really influence the elections of the Senate by pressurizing or by buying or by using the 100 tricks of their book that they have to coerce the members of provincial assemblies to vote in the favor of candidate that they want them to vote in. So open ballot would definitely reduce the involvement and the intervention of the establishment and the military establishment into the Senate elections as well. Thirdly, it would expose the strength of each political party as far as its internal discipline is concerned, whether members are happy with the party, whether they agree with the party's manifesto and ideology or not. Because if they do not believe in that party, despite being its member, they would probably vote against that party's nominee. So it would bring a lot of transparency, accountability, and I believe political maturity, because now the parties will think that before the elections, these really need to improve their party discipline, and they need to consult each of their members to ensure that their members are actually going to vote in their favor. That would definitely improve the power that each member of a political party, which means that each MPA, member of provincial assembly, would have over his or her own political party, which is a welcome move and kind of democratizing in that sense. That will also have cons, obviously. Because in the National Assembly, for example, if a member of a political party votes against a resolution that its party has brought on the floor, that member immediately stands disqualified from the membership of the National Assembly under the Election Act 2017. Now that act was brought to inhibit the practice of horse trading in the National Assembly as far as legislative work was concerned. But once again, that is not a very democratic thing to do, because for example, in the United States, members of a political party, if they do not believe in the legislation or in the approach and ideology of the party that they are member of, they are perfectly welcome to vote against its resolution, and there are no repercussions against it. Now that is a very democratic thing to do, because now you're fostering difference of opinions and you're inviting it. But that's not what is happening in Pakistan. But whether the Pakistan's upper house of parliament is ready for such kind of transparency model or not is a completely different question. So the problem is, however, even though this is a good thing that the PTI government is trying to do, is that they're trying to bring it through a legal means. So the President Arif Alvi has requested the Supreme Court to give its opinion how to bring the open ballot elections in the Senate elections. Now you basically need, I think you need a constitutional amendment in order to bring open ballot to the Senate elections, which obviously the PTI government would need opposition's complete support after substantial and exhaustive debate over the matter in the National Assembly, which is something that the PTI government and the Treasury benches are very poor at doing. Their record has been bypassing Parliament, not taking it into confidence, and generally not giving it the importance that it deserves and should have in a parliamentary form of government, because the Parliament is the mother of all institutions and the most supreme law-making body in a parliamentary federal republic as Pakistan is. So it is yet to see what the Supreme Court will say. I hope that the Supreme Court says that this is a matter to be discussed and legislated upon in the Parliament, so we are going to just defer it back to the Parliament's court. So let's see how things evolve in that matter. It's important, especially for the political science students and also for the Pakistan Affairs students. Another important development is that recently a retired Indian police officer has released a book by the name of National Security and Conventional Arms Race upon the regional security dynamics in South Asia between India, Pakistan and China. And he has clearly and in very overt terms accepted that India simply cannot defeat Pakistan or China militarily, and India is not ready to achieve the kind of objectives that it has set for itself in this region. And thirdly, India's build-up of conventional arms and continuous blame game over Pakistan to win electoral votes at home is only damaging India's internal polity, internal dynamics, and weakening the Federation of India. Now, that is a very damning confession, to be honest with you. And in recent months, we have seen how Pakistan has been successfully able to completely overhaul India's media campaigns against Pakistan and get a one-up over India and defeat India in some small skirmishes of media warfare and misinformation campaigns. And this trend we have seen especially ever after the Pulwama Balakot crisis, where Pakistan was able to really win that small escalation ladder against India and give a strong message to India and to the rest of the world that Pakistan will not compromise on its national security and sovereignty. So this admission by the Indian, retired police officer is another evidence of how India is basically losing it. And India's aggressive and militaristic, fascist foreign policy is not going to be beneficial for India in the long term. India is only going to axe its own foot, and it is becoming clear in that respect. And perhaps this can be considered a strategic win for Pakistan's diplomacy and foreign policy towards India. Moreover, as the former ISI chief of Pakistan also said that India is no longer a military threat to Pakistan because India is now caught in the trap of its own creation and its own rhetoric and Hindutva narrative and ideology, and the fascicization of Indian state is going to become its own undoing. Thirdly, a lot of people in recent days are saying that India is going to break up in the in the near future, where the Khalistan movement and the Maoist movement, if they are both supported by China and Pakistan respectively, have the potential to break India up once and for all because of the massive cultural, religious, and linguistic diversity that exists in India. So once again, we're not sure what kind of developments there will be regarding India's attitude and India's place in South Asia, but it is becoming clear that India's foreign policy is failing and could fail disastrously and be very detrimental to not just India but also to the regional countries. So let's hope that does not happen and India gets some air of sanity. So with that, thank you very much for your patience.